Jordan Peele is in the news with Candyman. Now, I want to preface this by saying, because it's been pissing me off for a while, I just want to clarify this for you guys, the viewers, and of course, I think in here. This is not Jordan Peele's Candyman. This is Nia DaCosta's movie. Everybody keeps assigning Jordan Peele to this movie because he's an executive producer on the movie Candyman. The film is directed by Nia DaCosta. Say her name. She's the director. I just want to put that disclaimer out there.
People did the same thing with the Twilight Zone. They thought he was writing and directing. Like, no, he's just the narrator and a producer. Like, stop thinking that the Get Out director is also writing and directing all of the Twilight Zone seasons on CBS.
Thank you for clarifying that, but he did do screenplay on Candyman as well, I think.
Did he?
According to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Take that as you can.
No, I trust it. Okay, so he did.
But I thought it was directing too. So thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, Nia DaCosta directed it though. I just want to make sure she gets some visibility as well, because it is technically her. You know, if you sign ownership, it is her movie.
Sure.
So Candyman was originally set to be released in June. I was heavily looking forward to it based on these two names alone. Then it got pushed to September in lieu of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now it ain't coming out till 2021. And reportedly, reports surfaced last week that Jordan Peele wanted the film delayed so as not to encourage folks to go back to the movie theater. And that's a very noble cause and stuff, but it probably wouldn't have made headlines nearly as much as it has if Christopher Nolan's Tenet didn't try to test the waters as the tentpole movie to come back and try to revive theaters. So that ultimately happened. Tenet did not do very well in America. I take it's doing all right overseas and in other markets, but it really did not go over well in America, and it basically scared straight a bunch of other studios from releasing anything within the next several months, at least until 2021.
300. Sorry, quick point. 300 million worldwide. The numbers I saw.
Yeah, that's what I was going off.
Where, but yeah, so it's making some money. It'll break even if you count the worldwide gross.
Essentially. Well, the point on this too is that, you know, you do have to respect Jordan Peele for having the kind of wherewithal and being like, no, let's hold off. I want this to be a theater experience. Let's do this when theaters are safe. But I also think the larger hand at play here, and granted, this isn't the nobility angle that we could take this story, even though there is one in here, I believe. But Universal, I think, is also really banking on this movie to be a potential franchise starter. So that's why I never thought that Candyman was ever going to come to video on demand in any capacity, because I had it in my mind. I'm like, I think Universal's probably trying to make this a franchise, but so they really want the box office dollars from it. They're not going to dump it on video on demand and have it be pirated and stuff like that. They weren't going to risk it with this movie in particular. There's no release date set for Candyman. It's not coming out till 2021 sometime. And reportedly, producer Jordan Peele was one of the people who had to have the final say on that, and he was the one who elected not to release it this year. Joe, what do you think about Jordan Peele and Universal's collective decision?
I think it's a good decision because we saw how Tenet did. But I mean, it's the thing that we've been saying for weeks, and you know, that trying to get people back into the theater maybe isn't the best idea right now, especially with flu season coming up and everything. I completely agree with his decision, and like do I agree that he wants to push it back even into 2021 and not put it on video on demand? Just be like, screw it, we'll just see how it does on there. Yeah, no, I think that's fine too, because, you know, if they want it to be some big franchise star, that's fine. But also, it's like, to me, a horror movie like Candyman, I think would be fun to go see late at night with a crowd of people. And unfortunately, you can't do that in the pandemic, because if you do, you're most likely to go home, wake up the next day, and feel very sick. Yeah, I'm completely in support of it, honestly. The whole, delaying it even further, but also delaying it until theaters are ready to reopen once the pandemic is settled down. Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty much echoing your statements as well. I'm going to bring up the race angle, which is not explicitly put into the article, nor I don't think Jordan Peele has made that explicitly shared. But, dude, across nearly every city, particularly here in Chicagoland, you know, it's hitting African Americans particularly hard compared to, you know, the percentage of the population that they make up. So in a WBEZ article, that's the local NPR affiliate here in Chicago, Chicagoland. We're not in Chicago, but in Chicago, 70% of COVID-19 deaths are Black. That was their headline. That's from April 5th. And African Americans make up, I believe, 30% of the population of the city, which is actually a little lower than I thought, but still. So I mean, there's just that angle to think of too. And Jordan Peele, whether he likes it or not, he is kind of the standard bearer for Black writers, for Black directors here in the modern age. So he kind of has that. He has that to think about too. He has to think about his community, particularly here in the post George Floyd era and the Black Lives Matter era. So in all aspects, you got to think of that as well. That's just the undeniable part of being a minority, right? It's just always with you, whether you like it or not. But that's it. If it's hitting African Americans harder, he doesn't. I would hope he does not want to make that. He does not want to exacerbate that too. So like, as Morgan Freeman from the movie Outbreak can tell you, who pulled a gun on his superior officer in order to prevent the city from being bombed. Spoiler, but it's like, man, what the hell are you doing? Like, hell no, don't do this. Don't make it worse. Do not make it worse. Which is, I just gotta be in agreement with Mr. Peele here. And I will also mention that Jordan Peele does have also with him the luxury of having just being a brand name, a household name, particularly when Comedy Central started re-releasing all those P and Keel skits on their channel. Like, it's been a renaissance again with those. So it's he has the luxury of being able to buoy that movie, to a degree as well. And so they can take the hit of delaying it, but also being able to buoy it again just with his name alone, which is funny because we were kind of downplaying that at the beginning because we want to give Nia DaCosta their just due, as they should, for directing the film, for directing Candyman. But at the same time, they also have Jordan Peele's name to fall back on. So that kind of blunts the hit to a degree, but we'll have to just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Candyman, though. Truly am. I think it has a lot of potential. I mean, hell, it's great now because I was seeing the trailers for, the end of the last year and the beginning of this year. And then it's like, well, I got to wait a little bit longer now for it. But it's the right move. It absolutely is. And I'm kind of concerned now, too, because apparently that Blumhouse movie Freaky is going to come out with Vince Vaughn pretty soon. And that's coming to theaters. And I'm like, damn it. I want to see it. I'm not going to the movie theater, though. Like there's the rock and the hard place factor with this, too. And I mean, and I know there's far bigger injustices in this godforsaken world, but like at the same time, it's, I was just telling my coworker today, it's going on 7 months now almost that I have not been to a movie theater, and it sucks. It really sucks not going. Like, that was a pillar of my weekend. That was a pillar of my life, truthfully. And not having that anymore really sucks. Also makes my weekends a hell of a lot more wayward than I'd like to admit, too. Start drinking at 1. But anyway,